to Legacy Game, episode 3 with
Queen.
Kumar.
And take 2. Alright, just act like that didn't happen. Okay, again.
Welcome back to Legacy Game with your host,
Queen L.
and Kumari Denny. We are a mom-daughter duo, and today is our 3rd episode. We're going to be getting into some interesting stuff. So before we begin, first we would like to say that we are non-religious people. We're not Christians. We're not Islamic. We're not Muslims. We're spiritual people, and so we have true connection with the Most High, Yahweh. And with that being said, I'm gonna have my mother add her input onto that.
Yeah, so I just want to say, in regards to that, right, we're not Christian, Muslim, or any of the other religions. We respect everybody's beliefs because beliefs are your truths, I just so happen to have a lot of experience in the church and different denominations of the church. I went to church every day of the year. My my step-grandfather and grandmother were pastor and first lady, so we was at church all the time. But long story short, I've done a lot of research, and I also know how I feel, so before any of the things that we say come to the situation, I just want everybody to know that I have a very wonderful relationship with Yahweh, the Most High. I believe in the Kodesh Malakim. I believe in his angels, his army. I believe, that there is a higher being that is, all that is, not just the word God,
Right.
all that is bigger than just the word. And, there's a whole little topic about that itself that we'll get into. But yeah, just prefacing this video with that, so there won't be a comment in the comment section, are you a Christian?
Right.
No. Okay.
Right.
All right.
Right. And we are speaking our truth, our experiences, our feelings. It's just as valid as a Christian or a Muslim, because everyone is speaking from their own perspective and experiences of God. So
right. Spiritual.
Spiritual,
like
right.
That's a category also. You know what I mean? You can say.
Yes.
So anyway, you want to go ahead and get started about what we're.
Yes. And so I was going to segue into. So the purpose of really this podcast, Legacy Game, is to show how my mother has lived her own life experiences, and she's sharing her knowledge and passing it on to her legacy. And that's going to be continuous, right?
Yes.
So this is the point of our show. And with that being said, there's a certain understanding and level of knowledge and wisdom that also comes along with that, especially with my mother. So what I mean by that is we're very curious, want to know, want to figure it out types of people. And just as my mother said, she's been in the church. The teachings that they teach you makes you start asking questions. Like, it don't make sense how they said, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things like, okay, if this makes sense, like, so that's led my mother to go and find those answers, seek that other side of the wisdom, of the untold truths of our history. And like in our previous episode, we talked about how we need to study our history, study especially Black people, Black women. So when you think about our histories and who's passing on this game, it was the mamas. It was the mothers. Like they say, you teach a man, you teach a person, you teach a woman, you teach a nation. So with that being said, my mom came across a jewel of knowledge that talks about our story in Africa, from the mother's perspective, the black mother. It starts with the black African mother.
Absolutely. So, I really like how you prefaced this, how you got this sorted or whatever. You know, and more than just, you know, the mothers teaching their daughters and their children, you know, the things, you know, and somebody understands that when the blink and the head turn, that is also a language that was taught to children, to the parents. But I'm saying that not only is it through the physical experience with the mother, but it's also with the biological aspects of being the child of the mother. The mother carries a mitochondrial DNA that's the same, that is unchanged. So even with her teaching certain things to you, it's simply awakening a part of your DNA that understood this principle or this clause or this way of making something happen, this way of cooking, or you know, so whatever the you know, the task or the situation may have been. It's also a light switch on in the biological sense of, you know, DNA, as if you already have this knowledge. You know, it's a wake up thing.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what I ran across was this book that I really need to order and have my mom bring it when she comes, because the shipping here is just a whole nother, you know, conversation and podcast. However, the book is called, and I would implore you black women especially to go look this up. Just go look it up. You know what I mean? And if you feel, you know, an urge to study it, to reach out for it, to grab onto it, you know, order the book. You know, like let's do this. You know what I mean? Like basically, this information, what we're getting ready to talk about is something that we were supposed to do. You know, as once we understood this and understood that we're what they're talking about. We're looking for our tribe. We're all out here. You understand what I mean? But anyway, there's a book called The First Prophets. Here it is.
The First Prophetess of Mami Wata.
Yeah, The First Prophetess of Mami Wata. I think I wrote it out somewhere else. Yes. The First Prophetess of Mami Wata. The book, The Sybils, Sybils. And it's by Mama ZOGBE, ZOGBE. And, you know, so how I came across the book, you know, for full transparency, I was on TikTok, and apparently when you start to look at certain types of videos, certain other things start to come on your For You page, you know. So I'm a very spiritual person, and there's certain things that, you know, just I look at, you know. So this came on my For You page, and it was a lady talking about this book, and she said, and she read the back, and basically it's a historical event account of, you know, the Sybils, who they were. They were priestesses that were basically connected. They were the divine mother. They were goddesses in the flesh. You know, yes. They had connections.
Divine spirit.
Yes, black women were born free, meaning they were not born under patriarchal rule. Which is why our spirit is so strong. So in this book, she's giving the whole account how we had a matriarchal society that ruled over 6,000 years, you know, right. and was all over the world, a matriarchal society. I mean, unbelievable information, right? So I'm like, wow, I can't wait to, you know, I'm like, my mom was coming to visit us soon, so it would be better for me to just, you know, get it through her. But there is no Kindle version or no, you know, PDF where you can just read it right now. So we were like, all right. So I Googled the information and went on YouTube and found an interview of the author talking about this book. And guys, you guys gotta go check that out as well. It's like 9 or 10 parts of like 10-minute increments. But this is where I'm talking from, where we're talking from when we're giving you the information that she said as the author, right. You know, about this book and our history as black women.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
you could start running.
So I was gonna say one thing she said that you also mentioned black women were born free, meaning we weren't born into patriarchal rule. She also said that Western women were born under the yoke of patriarchy. So let's kind of uncover that. Let's get into that for a little bit because it's a common stereotype under black women in the Western world, which is America and the other
Even the
European, that black women are aggressive or we're difficult to deal with and assertive and all that. But in reality, this is our spirit that's fighting against that patriarchal rule. We're living in a patriarchal world right now. This is why everything is going down. It's crazy because how was the women able to rule for 6,000 years? It must have been a peaceful society. And if you think about it, it makes sense because the mother is the one who births the son and the daughters. So that was something that stood out to me as well. Like Western women were born under the yoke of patriarchy. Even today, how they try to, our spirits are the one that's making us feel uncomfortable, it's not aggression, it's passion, it's assertiveness, it's the understanding, it's righteousness, understanding that this ain't right. That's not cool. My spirit feels some type of way. So that's one of the things, you know what I mean?
Yes, and she also said that, in order to understand her book, you have to understand that the concept of goddess is a generic attribution from Western feminist concepts, is what she said, symbolized by images. But she said that the Sybils, who were the first prophetess, and the women who were basically, they were, what she said, these were real women, our biological mothers, and they embodied the divine spirit in the flesh. They are your mothers, divine queens, not second to anyone who ruled the world. They could call down the gods and raise the dead. These were women who were like, they had temples. And in the temples there was, from a standard priestess to, a grand one,
Yeah.
And they were the ones who had the sacerdotal information.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And it's so lit how she just kept going, talking about, we do a lot of research about, the Sumerians, that time when there was, the first people, and even just what's over there right now, and the story of existence and all these things, right? And all this stuff is adding up. And she told us something. She told us a lot of things.
Right.
But I did my own cross-referencing of things she said already, and I don't even have the book, and everything is coming to, it's amazing how it all makes sense. She talks about the megaliths, how they were all female with triple crowns on her head.
Yeah.
It talked about like the Greeks, like
yes, as well.
Yeah.
I wanted to say.
Okay.
She said the Greek goddesses. The goddesses are our mothers. Greek mythology is our history, and they talk about Greek mythology. I learned Latin in all throughout my middle age and high school years, and we really did study Greek mythology. We still have the book with us, but she specifically says that Helen of Troy, the Trojan War, was
our history.
Was our history. So it's so crazy how they're putting this, and even in Greek mythology, they talk about the nymphs, and they make it so mystical. There was a group of women, typically, they were all throughout the world, like in the forest, there were sea nymphs, there were, they
had the knowledge.
They had the knowledge, they knew how to heal people, they knew they could get you